So it looks like Phaedra finally figured out a way to return to Bravo full time. And I have a lot to say when it comes to Andy Cohen's alleged one-on-one interview coming up with Jen Shah from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So, I want to talk about a couple of Bravo-related stories. I know a lot of you have been tweeting me, texting me, DMing me, talking about Phaedra. I don't know if you were a part of our Tuesday takeovers or anything like that. A lot of you have been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. And I was actually at BravoCon when Phaedra mentioned that she was dating a doctor. Also, if you paid attention to Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Ex-Wives Club, at Dorinda's, she mentioned this person that she's dating, but she really didn't want to talk about it. And I was just saying this past week, I'm not really looking forward to Phaedra coming back if she's not going to really be transparent. But if you really look back at Phaedra on Real Housewives of Atlanta, she never really was transparent. But I will say this, very much like Karen Huger from RHOP, and I've said this recently, is that she wouldn't be a great housewife if she wasn't a little shady and a little confusing. Okay, so let's just talk about what the Jasmine brand is reporting about Phaedra Parks possibly returning to Bravo on the hit show Married to Medicine. So they report this, and this comes from the writer SG. They write, Phaedra Parks is taking her talents to Married to Medicine. The former Real Housewives of Atlanta star isn't done with reality TV just yet. As sources claim, she plans to introduce her relationship with a doctor, according to All About the Tea. Bravo reality series producers allegedly invited RHOA alum to return, but she demanded an exorbitant sum of money that they weren't willing to give. Instead, they asked her to join Married to Medicine, which has a budget that's comparable to what Phaedra Parks requested. I'm a little confused by this. Okay, let's be honest. Married to Medicine is great. Married to Medicine, they make good money. Dr. Heavenly has talked about how good money they make. However, they don't make the same amount of money that the ladies from the Real Housewives of Atlanta is making.
Girl, this girl is delusional.
Let's be real. Atlanta brings in a lot more advertising, a lot more viewers than Married to Medicine. And I always say, I don't understand. You guys love Married to Medicine so much. But no. So I'm already not believing this story. Okay. Anyways, I'll continue just because I'm going to share. Okay. Instead, they asked her to join Married to Medicine, which has a budget that's comparable to what Phaedra Parks requested. Let me just say this, though. The budget might be bigger, or at least a little bit more open based off of the people that are a part of the cast. I still don't believe it, but we'll continue. The transition was teased during a panel at BravoCon 22, which also featured Married to Medicine stars Dr. Jackie Walters, Dr. Simone Whitmore, Anila Natsaja, and RHOA's Drew Sidora. In response to a question about her love life, Phaedra said, "I'm actually dating a doctor. I don't want to tell you about him, but I've actually dated him for about a year." She has been asked about this guy that she's been dating multiple times, and she refuses to reveal anything. I don't even think we've even seen a picture of this man. This man might not even be real. I'm literally in the middle of editing this story, talking about the Phaedra Parks possibly being on Married to Medicine, when I see Carlos King is confirming that he, according to his exclusive sources, can confirm that Phaedra was approached to join the cast of Married to Medicine, and she was approached for this current season that's about to wrap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Finally, we got the news that's out. So look, let's just get right into it. I have known for a while that Phaedra was approached to be on Married to Medicine, okay? I can 100% exclusively confirm that Phaedra Parks was 100% approached to be on Married to Medicine, okay? At the same time, she was also approached to appear on the next season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Hey, Carlos, can you confirm this information because you still are very friendly with Phaedra after the whole debacle that happened on RHOA where you say that you had no involvement, you decided to leave on your own? It's smelling a little fishy here. Anyone else? Sources claim Phaedra will appear on the 10th season of Married to Medicine, which will premiere in 2023, since filming for season 9 wrapped in December of 2022. As previously reported, Phaedra starred in 8 seasons of RHOA. Her departure appears to be related to a great deal of drama that occurred at the season 9 reunion. As you already know, we're not going to rehash any of this, but a lot of you say this is part of the reason why you don't want to see Phaedra return. And I believe Bravo and production has been listening to you guys because they pay attention to what people are saying on social media. They do see that a lot of people want Phaedra to return. And one of the ways that they tested that out was bringing her on Ultimate Girls Trip. As you know, she will be returning for another season on Ultimate Girls Trip, season 4, to Marrakesh. But bringing her back to RHOA has been complicated because Kandi is still there. And they like Kandi. Kandi has a great relationship with Bravo production, with Andy Cohen, all of those people. So although they do like Phaedra and they have a good relationship with Phaedra, they can't bring her back there if Kandi is still there. And I know what you all are thinking, some of you. Then get rid of Kandi. I'm a little concerned about Phaedra if this is true. Because like I said before, based on what I'm reading here, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It might be a story that Phaedra's putting out there to get more money, to get Bravo interested, to actually have a call. I don't believe it. Because especially when you're talking about she was asking for a certain amount of money and Married to Medicine has that money. And I'm not saying that they possibly don't. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. However, I will say this, Real Housewives, how much they pay their housewives is not what it used to be. But Phaedra returning to Bravo on Married to Medicine because she's dating a doctor. Someone cue the clip of Mariah saying, "But you're not even married to medicine, my dear." I don't need her dating a doctor. What we need for Married to Medicine, which is already a great show, I like Quad. I just don't know where Quad fits in this situation anymore because now she's just in there stirring the pot in a way that could have gotten people in trouble last season. I do find her humorous, and she does really know these women and hang out with these women. However, I think her time has expired on the show. The newbie that they brought this past season, I like her. She's actually married to a doctor. And I know some of you are like, oh, she was trying too hard, but no, I want to see more of her. I like them as a couple. I want to see more of them. I don't need Phaedra just because you want to insert Phaedra on some sort of show. You want to bring her back because you think viewers love her on that level. No, they're not going to love her with this doctor that she barely wants to talk about, and she's not even engaged or married to. The show is called Married to Medicine, not we're dating, but I don't want to share anything. I'm just painting a picture for you all. But you all have your right to your opinion. You might be like, you know what? She's dating him. I want to see it. I want to see Phaedra back on my television screen. Well, you have Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2 and Ultimate Girls Trip Season 4. Okay? All right. Moving on from there. On Radio Andy, speaking of Andy Cohen, Radio Andy, he was talking about the Jen Shah being convicted, and he basically said this. And here's the thing: a lot of people had thought that I was a little too harsh on Andy Cohen when I talked about this on TikTok yesterday. And here's the thing: so Andy, in his radio program, talks about her being sentenced. He also said that the casting for season 4 is already done, basically, and they're excited for the casting. I don't believe a word that comes out of Andy Cohen's mouth. Okay, he probably will also say that this reunion was amazing without Jen Shah, without Mary Cosby, and no real story to talk about. So he talks about the casting, but he also talks about Jen Shah being sentenced to 6.5 years in a federal prison. Sidebar, Jen Shah is going to, well, she's requesting to be at the same Texas jail that Elizabeth Holmes, from Theranos, is going to. Can you imagine that courtyard banter? So Andy Cohen says this.
And then Jen Shah.
She got off easy.
You think? Do you?
I mean, kind of.
Listen, any old person or anyone who just doesn't really understand what's going on with, the internet or how many scams are going along, people are susceptible to stuff like this. And if you read the victim impact report, it was pretty stunning. So I said on Smith Sisters Live, I'm hoping to go talk to Jen this weekend. I'm hopeful that I can do that, sit down with her in front of some cameras and deliver that to you. I'm really hoping to do that. Yeah, I read also that, which I didn't realize, because when I saw the 6.5-year sentence, I thought, oh, she'll do, close to 3 years. But for a federal, did you read this? Yeah, for a federal,
as they explained on the Smith Sisters.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
For a federal crime, you have to do 85% of.
Yeah, probably 5.5. Is like the earliest she could get up. She's definitely going to be in there for 5.
Right. Well, listen, it'll be a big loss for the show. It will. I will say
you guys will figure it out, I'm sure.
We have great casting for next year.
In the same breath of talking about her being sentenced, he says, did you even read the victim impact statements? They were pretty shocking. And he talks about how, elderly people are being, scammed by a lot of these scams all the time. They're very vulnerable. In the same breath, he says, well, you know what? I'm hoping to get a camera this weekend and have a conversation with Jen Shah. And a lot of you were like, Kempire, this is what he does. He interviews people. He did it with Teresa. That's not what captured my attention. I get it. I heard of him doing an interview with her way before this. We heard rumors of him doing an interview before she even pled guilty. And I was like, okay, I wouldn't have expected anything else. But you're going to say in the same sentence, you're talking about how you read the victim impact statements, and you still want to interview Jen Shah? Oh, wait, to get her side? And the reason why I bring this up, there's a couple of reasons. So not only what he said during Radio Andy, but what he also said at BravoCon. He said when she pled guilty, that pretty much was a wrap. Word on the street, she was asked not to go to BravoCon. They claimed it was for security reasons. Okay? And then they disinvited her. She said this on her own statement when she decided not to come the second time around. They disinvited her from the reunion because she pled guilty. Okay, they're going to claim the reason why she wasn't going to come was because of logistical reasons. Okay? Then they invited her. Okay? If you look at the timeline, it doesn't coincide with what Jen Shah says on her social media versus what Andy Cohen is saying. She says that she cannot come to the reunion the second time around because of her court case and she doesn't want to jeopardize the sentencing and things like that. But a lot of you said, then what's going to happen to this reunion? It's going to be trash. Well, now he's saying, even after reading the victim impact statements and all the other things that I just mentioned, we're going to get a camera and have a conversation. No one cares. I don't know if you notice, Andy Cohen. It's not the same situation that we saw with Teresa Giudice. It's not the same. I know a lot of people like to compare the situations. It really is not the same. First of all, people are far more interested in Teresa still to this day in an interview with her than with Jen Shah. People are also very much disgusted with Jen Shah and doesn't believe a word that comes out of her mouth. And let's be real. Let's be real. Andy Cohen was not happy that Jen Shah did an interview with a YouTube content creator, and I'll say his name, Up and Adam. He wasn't happy about that. He wanted that exclusive one-on-one interview first. Andy, get it together. Like I said before, I have no issue with him doing his job, interviewing someone that's a part of his franchise. But don't, in the same breath, talk about the victims of this said person, and then say you want to get a camera and, talk, we want to talk about it. Also, right after the news came out that this woman decided, right after being sentenced, I'm going to throw a little small 20-person luxury Italian dinner. Sidebar, word on the street, her children weren't there, and Sharif, there was no confirmation if he was there. No one has an issue with her having dinner. People have an issue with you flaunting your wealth and sort of like upping your nose at the law after you've just been sentenced for bamboozling and scamming elderly people of millions of dollars. Guys, I know you'll have your opinions. Per usual, though, share your opinions in a constructive way. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me about Phaedra. You don't have to agree with me about the Andy situation. Some of you may be like, well, Kempire, he has a job to do. Maybe she'll say something different now that she's been sentenced and blah, 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 blah. I get it. Do it in a respectful way so you don't get blocked. We don't block people around here unless you really are like terrible. Guys, let's continue this conversation in the comment section. I want to know your reaction to both stories. Phaedra Parks returning to Married to Medicine, and Andy Cohen's possible exclusive interview, one-on-one interview with Jen Shah over this weekend. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.